Hey guys, Peter here. Just arrived home from watching Machine Fucking Head in the great city of Toronto. This is a very special concert review for me. It's a very emotional concert review, and this was a very emotional concert. The first band I've ever seen live in my life was Machine Head. I saw them, it was either 94 or 95, I'm not 100% sure, it's been a long time. They were opening for Slayer in Portugal, they were touring with them. I saw them in Lisbon. I skipped school. It was a Monday. That much I remember was a Monday. I skipped school to go. I took a bus for 2 hours, 2+ hours to go to Lisbon to see these guys and to see Slayer. Let's face it, I really went to see Slayer because at that time I didn't know who Machine Head was. Everything changed the moment they came on stage. I remember Rob wearing corn rolls, jumping off the drum set. Going absolutely crazy. Everybody on stage, just so much energy. They were so hyped up. I remember at that time, that was my first concert, and the bar was set so high because I expected every single band from that point on to have that sort of energy on stage. I remember walking away from that concert more blown away by Machine Head and their performance than I was by Slayer, because I just had never seen in person, obviously, but I also had never seen on TV any band perform the way Machine Head performed on that night. And I remember the next day, the first thing I did was I went out and I bought Burn My Eyes. I had to get that CD. I had to have that album. That music was just electrifying. I had never heard anything like that up until that point. So I remember going to school and everybody wanted to know about Slayer, obviously how the show was and what songs they played. But I remember always going back to Machine Head and always going back to a band that I remember telling my friends, hey guys, you may not know who this band is right now. They may not be very popular. I know I didn't know them going in. But guys, you have to listen to this CD. This CD absolutely magnificent. You have to hear this band. These guys will blow your mind. There's like the guitar riffs are so electrifying, so groovy, so just it was just a really surreal experience for me at the time. 94, 95. I was 15, around 15, so I was the same age as my son is now, and I remember what kind of impact the band had on me back then. Fast forward 25, 26 years, and I went to see them today in the city of Toronto, and for me it was a very emotional concert because I haven't seen Machine Head since 1994, 1995. I know I've missed a lot of opportunities to go see them, but it's one of those things you always say, next time, next time. And as you get older, you realize that there's no next time but now. Now is the next time. So I went to see them today, and a huge part of me going to see them is because of the double set and them playing Burn My Eyes in its entirety. So I really wanted to relive my youth, be 14, 15 again, at a Machine Head show. Obviously, in my mind, I'm still 14, 15, but my body is not 14, 15 anymore. Neither is the body of the musicians. Obviously, you could tell that it's been a very long 25 years, 26 years for everybody. Rob doesn't have corn rolls anymore. He doesn't jump off the riser, the drummer riser. He doesn't do those spin around movements that he used to do with his guitar. So, everything changes, but the music doesn't. The quality of the music doesn't. The way the band sounds, the energy that they have, the energy that they filter from themselves into the audience, that to me, it didn't change. I honestly felt like I was 14, 15 again. I had such an emotional experience tonight at this concert because here I am watching the band that pretty much kick-started me into the world of metal, at least into the world of live music and metal as live music. So it was a really difficult, emotionally driven journey tonight. So they start off by playing. They play two sets. They start off by playing a set that consists of their greatest hits, if you will, except tracks from Burn My Eyes. So they play. Actually, I have the set here. I'll be able to show you guys. So they play a lot of good stuff. Now We Die, Locust, I Am Hell, Catharsis from their latest album, Ten Hammer, Hallowed Be Thy Name, a cover from Iron Maiden, and they finish off with Halo. And by the way, I got all of these guitar picks. So, and they finish off with Halo. Hallowed Be Thy Name, what a great cover. There's another cover that they do with Message in the Bottle, and I think that's perhaps a less known cover that they do, one that I absolutely love. I wish they added that one to their live repertoire, but obviously anytime you go to a show, you're never going to get all the songs that you want to hear. But for this show with two sets, almost 3 hours, I think 3 hours of Machine Head, I don't think there's much to complain about. But Hallowed Be Thy Name was definitely one of the highlights of that first set. I thought it was magnificent. What an incredible cover. They do an extremely good job with it. They really make it their own. They really give it their own personal touch to it. And the whole set was very dynamic. They did a very good job combining older songs with newer songs and really creating a very eclectic set list that jumped through time, that jumped through their discography all over the place. And I like that. I like the fact that it wasn't continuous, because on the second set, you're going to get a sense of continuity. So with this first set, to me, was really interesting that they just went all over their discography, jumping back and forth, moving it all over the place. And that to me created a very dynamic atmosphere within the venue, and the interaction between the band and the fans. You could tell that there was a lot of different ranges of fans. There's one time with Rob asks if there's anybody there watching the band for the first time, and I would say at least 1/3 of the crowd is their first time seeing Machine Head, which is incredible. They were having now the experience that I had back in 1994-95. So for somebody who's seen the band before and who had that experience of being at their show for the first time, you automatically connect with those people around you that are seeing them for the first time. And in between sets, you get to talk to them and share your experience. Talk about catharsis. This experience is really that. It really allows you to exercise a little bit of your demons and bring out a little bit of your own emotional baggage that you have as a metalhead, as a person, as somebody who enjoys live music. Because music will always bring good things out of you, but it will also make you remember of sad times in your life. So I think there was a little bit of those moments there. There was a little bit of sadness, for me at least, sadness of remembering how nice it was to be 14, 15, and now not know how scary the world out there really is. So it was really nice to have that sort of feeling of different generations of metalheads, different generations of Machine Head fans, people who've seen them multiple times, people who were seeing them for the first time. So it was really interesting to see that dynamic in the audience, and I felt that dynamic really got it really got pushed to its limit, and a lot of it had to do with how dynamic and how fluid the set was. And like I said, by them really combining songs from different albums, from different eras of the band, and just really jumping and hipping and scopping between all of these different ones, and not following any sort of timeline, any sort of continuity. Then they took a 10-minute break, and then comes Burn My Eyes. They changed the lineup for Burn My Eyes. They had 75% of the original lineup that put out that record, so they changed the lineup for Burn My Eyes, and it was really cool. That made it even better, the experience of listening to the album in its completion from first to the last track. It just made me realize how iconic that album is, how important that album is in the history of metal, in the history of the band. But for me, like I said, being one of the first albums I've ever purchased and being the first ever live concert that I saw, it had that special connection, and seeing those guys on stage, seeing that I aged, they aged, but the music is absolutely timeless. There was no aging. Rob's voice sounds as good today as it did 25, 26 years ago. So to me, that allowed me to travel a little bit in time and remember. They even change, by the way, the backdrop and everything around the drum set. They change it from the new logo and the new design to the Burn My Eyes logo. So even that brought me back to that time period, to that experience that I had. And listening to that album live, when I saw them back in 94, 95, obviously they only had one record, so they only played songs for their record, but they didn't play the whole album, because I believe they had, like, at that time, a 30-minute set, so they only played a few songs from that record. Now they were able to play the whole album from beginning to end, and it was it was so nice. Some songs that not that I forgot them, but some songs that I don't play or I don't listen to them as regularly as others. When they came on, I was like, oh man, I remember that song. I remember laying down in bed in my room, looking at the ceiling, listening to that CD. You know what I mean? Reading the lyrics. It was just at one point I think I had a tear in my eye, because like it was just it was such an emotional journey for me, being at that show tonight, seeing those two sets, seeing the present day, or at least the history, the evolution of Machine Head on the first set, and then seeing the birth of Machine Head on the second set. That is the best way to describe tonight's concert. And then they threw in a medley on the second set before the last song. They threw in a medley of songs of Metallica, White Zombie, Slayer, finishing off that medley with Raining Blood. That was really cool, because he also gave out a shout out to Slayer. Rob did a shout out to Slayer for taking them on that tour, the tour that I saw them in. So that was really cool of them to do that medley of songs. It kind of re-energized the crowd, because it's a long night, it's a long set. I honestly don't know how these guys do it. A tour where they play, I don't know, 30 shows, 30 plus shows, and they're playing 3 hours every night. I honestly, I couldn't do it. I would do that for 2 nights, and I would need to be plugged into an IV for the rest of the tour. Like, I honestly don't know how these guys have the stamina, the energy to do this night in, night out. It's 2 very long sets with only 10-minute break in between. It's absolutely magnificent that they can do this, and do this at a very high level with very high intensity, night after night after night after night. I was absolutely blown away. I'm going to be putting the tour dates on the description of this video, and I highly recommend you guys to check these guys out on this tour. Don't miss an opportunity to see this band live. They're as good today as they were back in 1994, 1995, as far as the sound, production. Actually, the production got better. The stage, it just got so much bigger, because they're a much bigger band now than they were back then. So from that perspective, everything got bigger and better. Obviously, they're not young bucks anymore. So as far as jumping around and whatnot, they have to keep it to a minimum, because it's a long tour. So, but I'm going to put the dates on the description of this video. If you guys out there are fans of Machine Head, if you've seen the band before, if you've never seen them before, go see this concert. Don't wait for the next one. This is 25 years of Burn My Eyes. This is a little bit a piece of history, if you will, of metal history, if you will. Don't miss an opportunity to see them play the full set. Don't miss an opportunity to go see these guys play live. They're a great band. They really energize the crowd. And there was not a lot of talking in between songs on either set. It was pretty much, there was maybe a break here and there with a little bit of there was a guitar solo during the first set. There was a drum solo during the second set. So there's a little bit of a break here and there, and you have to understand that those breaks need to happen in order for them to just really catch their breath and get ready for the rest of the songs. But overall, this is a very straightforward song after song after song after song, and they have to do that. But the energy that the songs have, the lyrics, the energy that they have, that they transmit to the audience, is enough to keep you connected, to keep you electrified through both sets without missing a beat. If this was a TV show, you would not even change the channel during the commercial breaks. That's basically what I'm telling you. So look at the dates below. Don't miss a chance to go see these guys. You're not going to regret it. I think you will regret it if you don't go see them, because this is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. It's really an important moment in the band's history. It's an important moment in the history of metal. That album has its place in the history of metal, at least in my opinion. To me, it does, because obviously I have a very special emotional connection to it. But don't miss an opportunity. It was a magnificent night of metal, magnificent night of live music. Go see these guys and enjoy yourselves. All right? Take care, you guys.